Thanks. So I'm Leah Quintal. I'm the director of SEO here, and I'm super excited to join the live call today and talk about Google's continuous focus on mobile and how that's progressed over time. So the main focus of this conversation is going to be the mobile first index, what that is and how to prepare. But first, let's do a little background. So back in April of 2015, Google announced what was affectionately referred to as Mobilegeddon, or mobile apocalypse. And that's when Google said that if your website was not mobile friendly, then you could expect to see drops in traffic and rankings in the mobile search results. So Samuel L., along with everyone in the industry, kind of panicked by this. But Google actually announced it to people, which they don't often say, we're going to have an algorithm update, here's what you do and how you prepare. So why did Google do this? If we look at some data, or some stats, so the first reason is back in 2014, this is a graph showing the global users of mobile and desktop. And back right around 2014, the global users on mobile actually surpassed those on desktop. So Google wants to serve the best search results for how people are currently using the internet. So this was a huge indicator that there needs to be a stronger focus on mobile. Beyond that, just a couple stats for fun. 48% of consumers start mobile research on a search engine, or with a search engine on mobile. And 61% of users will not return to a mobile site if they had trouble accessing it. And that is definitely true. If you think about your own habits, I bounce very quickly from any website that does not serve me fast results on my phone. And 91% of mobile users say that access to content is very important, and we're in the business of content marketing, so this is critical for all of us. So what Google did at the time, after their mobile friendliness update, is offer a mobile friendly test. And this is great, and this is part of how Google's making it easier for us all to adapt and kind of get with the program on mobile first. So basically, in spite of everyone panicking, we didn't see a lot of changes in search results or traffic for people who had websites that were not mobile friendly at this time. But Google did offer tools to make it easier for us to start learning about what impacts whether or not a site is mobile friendly. So you can go to Google's mobile friendly test, plug in any page of your website and run a test. And if your page isn't mobile friendly, Google will share insights as to why and what you can do to change. So the reason being is that when Google announces a huge change, we can expect that they're going to give us plenty of time to adapt and work up to what they're offering. So really, my opinion is that the Mobilegeddon was really the soft opening for what has come now, which is mobile first indexing. So hopefully, with mobile first indexing, what that really means is that the search index will continue to be this is from Google, a single index of websites and apps, but eventually, over the next few months, the algorithm will primarily use your mobile version of your site for rankings and search results. So instead of how you perform on desktop, your mobile presence will matter significantly more than your desktop presence. So what this means is that we all need to prioritize mobile in 2017, and hopefully you have been doing that already based on the Mobilegeddon updates earlier. So how do we prepare? The number one thing is that your website needs to be responsive. If you don't have a mobile version and your site is not responsive, that is number one. And hopefully that's something that we've all been working on over time, is really updating all of our websites so that they are mobily responsive. And if you've done that, then there's no reason to panic. You're in good shape. So what you can do right now is just pull up your phone and search your own website and look at how it appears in search results. That's definitely step one. So then there are additional things we can do to be better prepared for a mobile first indexing. So I'm going to briefly go over AMP, which is accelerated mobile pages, pop-ups and interstitials, the removal of them, and site speed. Site speed is super important for mobile. So first, accelerated mobile pages. So accelerated mobile pages are a stripped down version of your original page that is hosted by Google. Google delivers the page rather than your own website, and that makes it super, super fast, which is exactly what people want on their phones. And you've probably noticed these. So in this image on the left-hand side, this is the same page. It was a blog post I wrote a couple years ago. And on the left-hand side, we see the accelerated mobile version, the AMP page, super stripped down, and it serves up really quickly. On the right-hand side is the original page that is mobile-friendly. It's a responsive site. But as you can see, it has kind of all this extra stuff in there, like the sharing buttons. And all of those types of things slow down a page's load time. So accelerated mobile pages allow you to have a version of a page that turns up super quickly. So this one shows on your phone when you're searching for content, how accelerated mobile pages appear. So on the left-hand side, we have the image the article that I shared in the last slide, and you see the AMP with a little lightning bolt. It's possible Google changes how things appear in search results all the time, so I'm not sure how long those will be there. Sometimes they might be, sometimes they might not. But right now we're seeing them all over the place. So you see Space News, NASA. We even have sliders in mobile search results are becoming more and more common. So we have the AMP pages appearing at the top of those results. So how do you do it? How do you make this happen for yourself and your own website? If you have WordPress, it's super easy. So this is from JB Media's backend, and I used AMP, which is made by Automatic. It's great. It's a fantastic plugin. I just installed it, and then honestly, I forgot about it for many months, and then noticed our accelerated mobile pages appearing in search results for our blog. It's a little more challenging with other platforms, and that is because a lot of this is new. It takes time and that's why Google gives us time to adapt to their algorithm changes, because they want us to be successful in adapting for the way that people use the internet now. So if your platform doesn't currently have a simple plugin for accelerated mobile pages, I would just recommend that you kind of send a message to your platform and ask about it and kind of get a timeline. I'm sure it's under development right as we speak. And once you implement your accelerated mobile pages, you can use your Google Search Console to check out how they're doing and if they're being indexed. So this is the Google Search Console for JB Media Group, and what we have now is our 102 indexed accelerated mobile pages. When I first installed it, there were some problems. I didn't do anything about it. I figured we're all working to sort out the hiccups as we make this transition, and it sorted itself out on its own, which is fantastic. And over time, those accelerated mobile pages are now appearing higher in search results than the pages before that. So moving on. So now we're going to talk about interstitials and pop-ups. So in August of 2016, Google announced another update to their algorithm in their Webmaster Central blog, saying that as of January 10th of this year, you could be penalized if you have pop-ups, intrusive interstitials or pop-ups that are blocking content on your site, particularly because it's very annoying on a phone, and you've probably noticed that. So here's an example of a SEO blog. And this is what an interstitial is, or a pop-up. They when you get to a site, they kind of take up the whole screen, and you have to say no thanks, or no, I do not want to learn about this program, or something like that to get rid of them. There are some interstitials and pop-ups that are acceptable according to what Google has said. So this is an example from New Belgium Brewery. Brewery websites have to have a pop-up where people say what their age, verify their birthday and their age because they sell beer. And that's the law. And government agencies also have certain pop-ups that are required. So those are okay. I mean, Google's pretty smart, so if there's something legit that you need a pop-up for, then it's gonna be okay. But why are interstitials a problem to begin with? So what Google said in their announcement is that they're intrusive, they create poor user experience, and they're particularly problematic on mobile devices. So it's only been running for about 1 month, and there's mixed results in terms of whether or not this update is actually affecting, whether or not it's affecting people's rankings or search results, because Google said that it would. Again, a lot of times it's more of an indicator of things to come. So yes, if you have interstitials and pop-ups, it's not like tomorrow, if you don't remove them, you will be penalized and your site will no longer show up. What Google is really letting us know is that this is the direction that we're heading. So we're still getting more data within the industry to see the impact of this rollout. There's some speculation that Pinterest was hit, but again, it's only been running for a month. So the key takeaway is paying attention to user experience on your mobile device. And if you are scrolling through your own page and something's obnoxious to you, it's going to be for your users, and that's something to rectify. Finally, site speed. So site speed is really important. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. This is a screen grab from Google Analytics, where Google offers speed suggestions for pages on your website. A lot of the recommendations, some of them are super simple. It might say you need to compress your image file sizes. Other ones are more challenging, and you sort of have to weigh the pros and cons of improving your mobile speed and what that might mean for your website. So the best thing you can do right now is just talk to your developer and just make site speed part of the conversation you have when you're considering what you're doing to your website and what you want it to be able to do. The more bells and whistles you have, the slower your site speed's going to be. So just make sure, don't overstress it, but make it top of mind when you're looking at changes to your website and what you want to incorporate in it. And check out your scores to see where you are right now. So that's the page speed insights. You can do it from your Google Analytics, or you can even just Google Google's page speed insights and plug in a URL right there. So the final thing really is just to not panic. Like I said, Google rarely makes large changes evident to all of us, and the fact that they are telling us through their blog, they're letting us know in analytics that this change has happened, that mobile first indexing is here. It means that they're going to give us plenty of time and support to make our websites as best they can be for mobile experience. All right, do we have time for...
I think we have about 5 minutes for Q&A on your presentation, and then we'll do 10 minutes of just general
that'd be great.
SEO.
Great. So if you don't mind, I'm going to jump in with something that was coming across my Facebook Live feed, which is, how does this apply to different platforms? What do people need to know about how they had their website built and whether or not they can even make some of these changes? So for instance, somebody started asking me about Squarespace compared to WordPress, compared to something else. Can you just briefly touch on that, when it comes to AMP and, what kind of opportunities people have?
Yeah, so I would say the number one thing, regardless of what platform you have, if you run the page speed insights, that will give you somewhere to start. So regardless of what platform you're on, when it comes to implementing accelerated mobile pages, I did mention, I used WordPress as an example because it is the easiest on WordPress because there are good plugins that already exist. So we've had this problem with Shopify, for example. Shopify doesn't yet have a plugin to allow for accelerated mobile pages, and that's okay. The key is if you research your platform and attach accelerated mobile pages to it, and there isn't an option yet, it's just to reach out to that platform and let them know that you're looking for that, because like I said, if it doesn't exist yet, I am certain that it is under development right now. And that's where it's and it's kind of fun when you get to kind of communicate with the people who are developing elements of your website platforms, because a lot of times they're way more responsive than you would think.
Another question that Jenna was getting was, and you might have already answered this because it was coming through the chat, was just understanding with interstitials, they're okay to have on the desktop version but not on the mobile version.
Oh, well, that is tricky. So your mobile or your desktop version will still get indexed, just not as frequently as your mobile, and how you appear in mobile is going to dictate where you appear in search results as a whole. So I would say if the interstitial and it's only been a month, and how we learn how to adapt to Google's algorithm updates is by monitoring changes and a lot of times disasters for other sites. Like, did they get hit with a penalty? So I would say if you keep it minimum and your interstitials are working really well for you, like maybe you have a sign up for something that's popping up, if you're getting a ton of conversion from that, then I would leave it for now. And then maybe we can do another update. And one of these calls
in a couple months.
In a couple months when we have more industry insights, but especially for smaller websites. I mean, 1 month out, we're not seeing a lot of changes. But again, I think the takeaway is just to pull your user experience. Is it in the way? What other sites have been doing, like some of the search engine blogs are doing, is making the pop-up not appear right away. Like, you have to be on the page for, 15 seconds or so before the pop-up appears. And that's just speculation that the problem that Google is having is when you have to X out the pop-up before you see any content. So I recommend starting with that, just making it delay before it pops up, and then we'll keep track of it and let you know how it's going in the industry.
Mm-hmm. We've got one other question, which is from Lucy Murphy. Once I plug in AMP on my WordPress site, how do I activate it on my pages? And I think it probably depends on how you're setting it up.
Yeah, when I did it for our website, I just installed it and it did it automatically, and it just rolls out slowly over time. So right now we have 100 or so pages that are registered as accelerated mobile pages, but when I first implemented it, it started with like 8, and then over the course of several months, it's built up to 100. It's really about installing it and then Google recrawling your site